Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to just imagine you have this brilliant idea for a business. You're sitting there, maybe sketching on a napkin, and you think, I'm going to build the Uber of fitness education.
A classic starting point.
Right. You've got this vision of a huge, scalable platform. Anyone, anywhere can just log on, learn the ropes of fitness, maybe help some other people out, and, eventually launch a whole career.
Sounds perfect. Silicon Valley gold.
It does. But then you take that napkin to a lawyer and you just hit a wall, a massive concrete wall covered in red tape.
The regulatory wall. Yeah, that's the moment the dream meets reality. You want to move fast and break things. But the government, and in this case, the fitness governing bodies, they just say, absolutely not.
Exactly. You suddenly realize that the second you start teaching people how to be fitness pros, you're not just some cool tech platform anymore.
You're a college.
You're an educational institution. And that means compliance officers and site visits and insurance nightmares and just a grinding halt to your scalability.
Which is usually where the startup dies.
Right.
Or it, pivots into something boring like selling supplements.
But that is exactly why the document we are looking at today is so fascinating. It doesn't accept that choice between scale and legitimacy.
It finds a third way.
Today on the Deep Dive, we are looking at a strategy document called the Fitness Roars Regulatory Strategy and Talent Pipeline. And honestly, reading through this, it feels less like a course syllabus and more like a script for a heist movie.
It really does. It's a blueprint for bypassing bureaucracy, but strictly legally.
It's a masterclass in reading the fine print. What we're looking at here is this very specific business model that uses AI, a really clever two-tier structure, and what they call behavioral filtering to just solve the whole problem.
And our mission for this deep dive is to understand exactly how this thing works.
Because it promises something pretty incredible, a way to find talent, reduce your risk, and keep the lawyers happy, all while creating a brand new revenue stream.
So it starts by understanding where the trap actually is. In the source material, they identify what they call the regulatory trigger.
This is crucial.
It is. Before you can build the workaround, you have to know exactly what you're working around.
Right. So let's look at the enemy here, so to speak. The source specifically brings up YMCA and OFCL regulations.
Yeah, the heavy hitters.
For our listeners who aren't, dep in the UK fitness certification world, what are we talking about here?
So OQUAL is the Office of Qualifications and Examinations Regulation. They're the government watchdog in England. If you trigger their oversight, you are in a completely different world of compliance.
So you're not just selling a course anymore.
No, you're issuing a qualification that the government recognizes. And the document lists the specific criteria that trigger the regulation.
It's like a tripwire. If you step on one of these, an alarm goes off and the regulators descend.
That's a good way to put it. And if you trip that wire, your costs just skyrocket.
Okay, so hit me with the list. What sets off the alarm?
There are 4 main triggers. First one, and it's a big one, guided learning hours delivered by qualified tutors.
Okay, so if I hire a trainer to do a live webinar and answer questions in real time...
You've tripped the wire.
Yeah.
That requires a qualified tutor, which implies a regulated course.
Got it.
Second is assessment under supervision. So if someone is watching you take the test to make sure you're not cheating, that's a formal exam.
Right. No proctoring. What's third?
Third is defined contact hours, a set schedule. And finally, and this is the one that really catches most people out, claims of employment readiness.
Claims of employment readiness. That sounds a little vague.
It's actually very specific legally. If your marketing says, take this course and you are ready to be hired as a personal trainer tomorrow, you have just stepped right into the regulated zone.
Because if I claim you're ready and you go out and hurt someone in a gym because you don't know what you're doing...
You're liable. The platform is liable. So if you do any of those 4 things, you're basically running a college. You need qualified staff. You need oversight. It's heavy. It's expensive.
And it is very hard to automate.
Impossible, really. Which brings us to the genius part. The Fitness Roars strategy is basically a map of the negative space. They looked at all those rules and just said,
Oh, okay. If those things trigger regulation, let's build a product that does none of them.
Exactly. They design a solution that sits safely in the non-regulated space. The source outlines it clearly. The course provides introductory knowledge, it's online learning only, and this is key, it uses a self-contained exam without making any employment claims.
It's a loophole, but a designed one. By removing the live teacher and the promise of a job, they remove the red tape.
They do.
But doesn't that make the product kind of useless? I mean, if I can't get a job and I don't have a teacher, why am I here?
That is the million-dollar question. And that's where they had to get really innovative on the product itself. They split the whole journey into two distinct phases. Step one is what they call the digital layer.
The funnel.
Yes, this is the funnel.
Okay, let's dig into this digital layer, because when I first read online learning only, I thought, okay, so it's just me watching YouTube videos. But the source says it's not just passive watching.
No, not at all. The product is an introductory online course. The whole point is to introduce people to the industry, basic advisory skills, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the key differentiator is the exam.
Right, the tough exam,
Yeah.
spelled T-U-F.
Tough, yeah. That caught my eye, too. It feels like they're trying to brand the difficulty.
They have to, right?
They have to. Since there's no human teacher to verify your skills, the exam itself has to be the gatekeeper. It's a robust, automated exam,
Here.
and the grading is all automated or, based on peer review and leaderboards.
No humans grading papers.
And crucially, no live tutored hours. 0. That is the legal shield. If there's no live tutors, there are no guided learning hours in the eyes of the regulator.
So successful users finish this course, they pass this tough exam. What are they? They can't be personal trainers.
And the language here is so important. They become fitness advisors. The source says they can give general online guidance or workout buddies support.
Fitness advisor. It sounds professional, but legally it's very different from a trainer.
It's night and day. A personal trainer prescribes a specific regimen for a specific person. That's high liability. A fitness advisor is more like a peer. They're just saying, hey, this worked for me, or you should try to be more consistent.
So legally, they're just helpful friends who know a bit more than the average person.
Exactly. It keeps the liability low. But there's another angle here that the source highlights, which I think is really important. Inclusion.
Oh, right. This section really stood out to me. Because this whole first stage is remote and digital, it opens the funnel to a huge group of people who usually get left out of the fitness industry.
Yeah, think about the typical barrier to entry. If you want to be a trainer, you usually have to walk into a gym, sign up for a course, and stand there in your workout gear in front of a bunch of super fit people.
Which is terrifying if you're not already super fit.
It's a massive psychological filter. It filters out people with disabilities, people who are anxious about gym culture, people who are just shy, or who live in remote areas.
Or people who just aren't fit yet but want to learn.
Precisely. This digital layer lets those users enter the ecosystem safely. They can learn, they can pass the exam, and they can start engaging without ever stepping foot on a noisy, intimidating gym floor.
It's democratizing access to the start of the career path. So now we have this massive group of people taking the course, passing the exam, becoming fitness advisors, but that creates a new problem.
A good problem to have.
A good problem, but still a problem. You have thousands of users. How do you know which ones are actually any good? You can't interview them all.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This is step 2, the filter. The source calls this talent filtering via AI and leaderboards.
This is the part that felt a little Black Mirror to me, but in a good, efficient way. Instead of a resume, they're just using data.
It's behavioral data. The platform uses a leaderboard and a 10-star rating system. But it's not just about who gets the highest score on the test.
It's about engagement.
Yeah, the source says it tracks proof of engagement and seriousness.
Seriousness. That is such a hard thing to quantify normally. I mean, every resume says hardworking and reliable, but here, the system is actually watching.
It's tracking reality, not claims. Do you show up? Do you reply to peers in the forum? Are you consistent over 3 months? If a user consistently gets high ratings from other users for being helpful, that's a data point that is so much more valuable than a bullet point on a CV.
It's show don't tell, but automated.
And think about the commercial side. This is the part I think is brilliant. While all this filtering is happening, while these users are proving they're serious, what else are they doing?
They're paying. The source lists, platform subscriptions, retail, and paid online coaching.
They are monetizing the interview process.
Right.
Think about that. In a traditional model, recruiting costs you money. You pay recruiters, you pay for ads.
You pay managers to sit in interviews for hours?
Exactly. Here, the candidates are paying subscription fees to be part of the ecosystem, while the system automatically identifies the best ones.
That is, well, it's commercially ruthless, but you can't deny it's smart. You're turning a cost center recruitment into a profit center.
And you're reducing risk. By the time someone rises to the top of that leaderboard, they're not a stranger. You have months of data on their behavior.
So let's talk about those top performers. The people who crush the exam, get the 10-star ratings, climb the leaderboard. What happens to them? Do they just stay advisors forever?
No, and that would be a dead end. This brings us to step 3, the career layer. This is the optional progression.
This is where we finally get back to the real world, right? The regulated stuff we talked about at the start.
Yes. The source explicitly mentions the YMCA L2 diploma, gym instructor, and YMCA L3 diploma, personal trainer. These are the gold standards in the UK.
And the strategy shifts.
It shifts from digital and safe to in-person and regulated. But the key word here is optional.
Right. Not everyone has to do this.
Correct. Maybe you're happy just being a part-time advisor online. But for those who want a full career, the platform offers this upsell. And this is where the strategy provides massive value to partners, like the gym operators the source mentions.
It specifically drops the name Pure Gym, a huge chain.
A huge chain. And you have to ask, why would they care about this pipeline? They have their own hiring systems.
Of course. But what are their pain points?
High churn. It is incredibly hard to find good trainers. People get hired because they look the part, but then they quit 2 months later because they realize they don't actually like the work.
Or they can't handle the early mornings, or they're just not good with people. You can have a six-pack and still be terrible at customer service.
Exactly. But with this pipeline, the platform hands the gym operator a candidate who is already pre-filtered. They know the basics, they've proven they're motivated, they have a track record of engagement.
So the gym isn't taking a bet on a random applicant, it's hiring a known quantity.
It reduces recruitment risk dramatically. The source calls it a funnel. You pour thousands of people into the top online course, the platform filters them, and the gym gets the cream of the crop at the bottom.
It really is a complete ecosystem. I want to take a second to visualize this because the source material actually describes a pipeline diagram. Let's walk through it step by step so we can see the whole machine.
Yeah, it's a 4-step flow.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1 is the online intro course. This is the wide mouth of the funnel. Self-paced, automated, tough exam. The output is just a badge of achievement. You get a digital high five.
Simple, low barrier to entry. What's step 2?
Step 2 is social platform engagement. This is the community. Peers connecting, the 10-star ratings. This is where the organic talent filtering happens, sorting the casuals from the serious players without any human management.
And step 3.
Step 3 is paid digital coaching and retail. This is the monetization layer. The fitness advisors, the ones who pass step 1, start earning a little money via commissions or subscriptions. It's low risk for everyone, but it generates cash.
Okay, so they're basically gig economy workers at this stage. And then finally, step 4.
Step 4 is the optional career progression, the transition to the formal, regulated YMCA courses. This leads to full employment.
It's so elegant. It separates the things that can be automated from the things that can't.
That's the core insight. And the source actually makes an explicit AI observation about this. It notes that this mirrors a broader trend called micro-credentialing.
Micro-credentialing. We hear that buzzword a lot. Break that down for us in this context.
It's the idea of breaking down a massive, expensive qualification into bite-sized chunks. So instead of committing to a 4-year degree or a 6-month diploma up front, you take a small course. You get a micro badge. You test the waters.
It's like dating a career before you marry it.
Exactly. And from a systems perspective, it allows for self-assessment. The user decides if they're ready for the next step, rather than an admissions officer deciding for them. It shifts the burden of selection.
What I find so compelling is how it solves the chicken and egg problem of experience. You know, you can't get a job without experience, but you can't get experience without a job.
The curse of the entry-level market.
But here, the digital layer gives you a place to get that experience, even if it's just workout buddy support, before you ever apply for the formal job.
And it creates a record of it. That 10-star rating is a form of verified experience. It proves you have soft skills. You know, we talk about automation taking jobs, but here, automation is identifying talent. It's finding people who might have been overlooked because they didn't have the right resume, but they have the right behavior.
It's meritocratic in a way that traditional hiring often isn't. The algorithm doesn't care who your dad is. It just cares if you logged in and helped someone today.
Within the parameters of the platform, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the regulatory brilliance. By keeping steps 1, 2, and 3 distinctly non-regulated, they keep their costs way down.
They don't have to pay for awful compliance for the thousands of people who just want to learn a little bit.
They only pay for compliance in Step 4 for the small percentage of people who are actually going to become professionals. They save the expensive resources for the people who are worth the investment.
So if we zoom out, This document, this Fitness Roars regulatory strategy, isn't just about push-ups and treadmills. It's a blueprint for building a scalable education business in any regulated industry.
It preserves four key things, which the source summarizes perfectly.
Mhm.
First, regulatory compliance. It stays legal by designing around the rules, not trying to cheat them.
Right.
Second, platform scalability. Automated exams and peer reviews mean you can have 10 users or 10 million users without hiring more staff. Third, monetization. It makes money at every single stage, not just at the end. And finally, talent filtering. It delivers better candidates to the industry.
It's a win-win-win. The user gets accessible education, the platform gets subscription revenue, the gym operators get vetted staff.
And let's be honest, the lawyers get to sleep at night because the lines between advice and instruction are so clearly drawn.
That distinction between giving advice and giving instruction is so subtle but so powerful. It's the difference between a scalable tech company and a regulated school.
And that really is the lesson here for anyone listening who's building something.
Yeah.
If you understand the regulations deeply, not just to follow them, but to understand the definitions, you can design products that fit into the gaps.
You can build the negative space product. It reminds me of how ride-sharing apps navigated taxi laws. They didn't employ drivers, they connected independent contractors.
This is the education version of that.
Right.
We're not a school, we're a platform for peer-to-peer advice. Oh, and if you want to go to school later, we can introduce you.
It's a funnel. And for the user, it's a journey that feels natural. They aren't thinking about ethical regulations. They're just thinking, hey, I learned something cool today and I got a badge for it.
And maybe, hey, I'm pretty good at this, maybe I should do it for real.
And that maybe is where the business model thrives. That moment of self-discovery is what converts a $10 subscriber into a career professional.
Well, this has been a fascinating look under the hood of how a modern digital platform navigates the old school world of rules and regulations.
It's clever, it's calculated, and honestly, it's a little bit inspiring for anyone trying to disrupt a traditional industry.
It shows that regulation doesn't have to be a roadblock. It can be a design constraint that actually leads to a better, more efficient system.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Fitness Roars strategy, we want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
We've talked a lot about how this model separates knowledge, which can be automated and tested online, from professional licensure, which is expensive and human heavy.
It proves you can verify what someone knows without a human ever getting involved. So here's the question for you to mull over today. Could this leaderboard first hiring model work in your industry?
Imagine a world where, before you even look at a resume or check a college degree, you require candidates to play a game or complete a digital challenge that proves their competence and consistency.
If we stopped hiring based on credentials on pieces of paper and started hiring based on verified, gamified behavior, what kind of talent would we discover?
And maybe more importantly, who have we been missing out on just because their resume didn't fit the mold?
Maybe the future of hiring isn't an interview at all. Maybe it's a high score. Something to think about. That's it for us in the deep dive. Thanks for listening.